which is another way of saying things are always changing. So if you notice, the weather's always changing, you're always changing, the challenges are always changing. The thing that doesn't change are these basic rules of the energy. There's no limitations on what you can succeed in as long as you keep this whole operating system growing. What are the unspoken rules of success that no one talks about? I love this question. And it's not an answer that people are necessarily prepared for. And the answer is that the unwritten rule for success on this planet, and that's what I loved about, even though I had learned meditation, I'd learned acupuncture, I'd learned herbology, I'd learned chiropractic. I mean, I had a lot of things I wanted to learn, water therapy, crystal therapy, all kinds of things that would help the body, but they were just things that could help some in certain situations. But knowing the answer to that question that you asked me is absolutely necessary for being successful. So in our lecture material, you'll see in the notes below the link, we have many different courses on being able to be all you can be, not because you have some ego problem, just because that's the way God made us, that you do better when you move all your fingers rather than not move them for a month. Actually, the keys of being that are not pressed into people from the very beginning is that you don't have really clear access to your best choices all the time in life because people have filled you, and then some people call it your subconscious, but I call it your ignoracious, if you just to keep ignoring the fact that you've got these judgments about I can't do this, or people like me don't do this, or this is impossible, or you have so many resistances that we set up that aren't true. That's the first thing. Second thing is that your mind is really, and I've been saying this for now over 25 years, and now finally it's popular, that you have neuroplasticity. So your brain can always keep growing. And so you can develop other pathways that are very, very good for creative things in your life that will make your life wonderful. So say you want to create a great relationship. We have programs on that. So you want to create a lot of financial success, but also you don't want to work on Fridays and you want to be off on the weekend with a big, profit sharing plan. But so many people do that. I mean, people come for making all kinds of success. And whenever somebody goes to them and says, how did you do this? They go, you have to talk to Dr. B. Because they had to learn that what most people don't recognize is that this human body is so sensitive from the time you're born that it can be programmed, and you don't even know you got programmed so that you don't even see things correctly. And anyone that's ever seen some of those beautiful paintings that show birds flying this direction and they're flying that direction, or where you see a lady and an ugly lady and one lady looks old, one lady looks young, and it's the same picture. They show that your brain and eye have limitations on whether it can determine what's really real. So just imagine if you were going into an intersection and you've got kids in the back seat and you're not that able to tell what's real about the light in front of you for some reason, it would be disaster. Well, believe it or not, that's the unwritten information. The disaster that causes people to go around thinking that there isn't enough for people, there isn't enough a way that we can get along in this world. And so people have to be aggressive, or they've got to wait till they make theirs before they're going to be a win-win person. But the unwritten rule is that the only way you're ever going to make it in this life is that by having the ability to see reality. And it's not possible to see reality if you've got a droning noise inside your head of thoughts and resistances that you picked up along the way that you didn't know, but people gave you those thoughts and opinions, which blocks your ability to see. And we've shown that in multiple studies that, and people will deny that, you'll show them something and they'll say, that's a this. And you'll say, no, it isn't. And they say, no, yes, it is. And then we show it to them again and we make them look at it at length. And then finally, they're able to detect it by measuring something, by bringing themselves out of their own mechanisms for interfacing with life. So what the unwritten information is that people need this energy massively. That's why I love this energy for success work, because it opens up your sensors throughout your body. So yes, it's good to meditate. We have a whole program on having your meditation become really super. In China, it's considered the fastest route to enlightenment with meditation, but that's only part of the picture. So the things that are unwritten on this planet is one, that you are not given the right manual, that you're not able to connect up to really reality because you get so much noise and prejudgment that goes into our system that gets in the way of being able to utilize every step along the way to recognize another thing, which is that this planet is, if your sensors are open, something that you really can live in a peaceful way, win, 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 win for you, win for the other person, win for the environment, and we can all grow together. But most people are taught from day one, when you meet your first bully, that, oh no, I got to be worried about this person. And everybody knows that bullies come from where? Families that have bullies in their families, fathers or mothers or other relatives. So it's like programmed already. So how many people are walking around that you're meeting every day that you need to interact with, that are really present and able to hear what you have to say? That study's been done too, that people can barely repeat anything people say. That's why it's good to take notes correctly on a first try. And if they measure you, say, 24 hours later, it doesn't even matter if these people from best schools in the US, still next day, they can only remember maybe 20% if they just heard it one time. So the question is, do you want to memorize everything? And then some people say, well, your brain is supposedly already doing that. And it's buffering out tons what you don't need. Well, who decided what you don't need? Well, was it someone who came from some Jim Jones cult down in who knows where? I mean, you don't know where people come from. You know where information comes from. So what I love about Energy for Success, it frees you to be yourself, your authentic self, as God created you to be able to be a contributor to yourself and humanity, while you make it through a planet in which a lot of people are misreading what's in front of you. Give me an example. How many car accidents have happened in just the last minute in the planet? It's amazing. There's people, and when you ask them later, what happened? I was distracted. It isn't like they became a bad driver all of a sudden. It's just, I guess got distracted and then boom, car accident. So the fact that the insurance companies know that people are just not in present time means they're missing what's happening on the road. And so it's very expensive to not break out of this. So that's why I love the usage of Energy for Success. It has grade 8. And one of the grade 8 is to keep you completely balanced, always looking forward to everything in life, that it's for you and it's for you as a contribution for you and others. And it's a positive world that's set up for you to keep. And this is the other thing that I mentioned, is that there is no way out of getting successful on this planet without learning. There's no such thing as I learned one thing and then I'm done. No, you're going to keep learning until your last days. And therefore, you have to keep your brain super sharp. And that's why I like that the energy opens the Einstein part of your brain. It gets you like really able to keep learning, no matter what your age. One other untold the fact is that this planet is very set up by a lot of rules. And the rules are not necessarily the ones you know, and that's unfortunate for everybody. And that's why I'm very, very clear when I'm giving a talk about. I'm saying this is something that's been proven over and over again. One of them is that there is no hover. You're really either always expanding or you're contracting. So let's say you have a plant and it's in your office and you put it near the sunshine, you fertilizer, normal plant's going to expand, it's going to grow. The process of life on this planet is for it to grow and keep growing and growing. But if it's not growing, then the other choice is sort of black and white. That means you're decreasing, use it or lose it. It means you're going towards death, towards destruction, and then finally disintegration, and then you're a molecule in the air. But people don't like that point of view, that there's this immediacy to whether my choices are ones that are going to allow me and everyone around me to grow and learn, And that's why we need to really support each other using these energy practices to always learning, remember, requires that before you learn something, which means growing, you're going to grow, you'll have a period where you don't know. So we have all these exercises and practices for how to go through the I don't know. We call it the I don't know for sure. Because everybody knows, what's this? And go, oh, that's that. What's that? That's that. That's my opinion. I'm clear, sure. Well, how come you're not winning at the racetrack? You don't know. And so we have this whole series on I don't know for sure, IDKFS, because there's just never a time that without really bringing yourself into reality that you're going to be able to make successful choices. And then the little caveat that goes along with that is that things are always growing, that are growing, or things that are not growing, which is another way of saying things are always changing. So if you notice the weather's always changing, you're always changing, the challenges are always changing. But the thing that doesn't change are these basic rules of the energy, which will make it so you can be a great skier, double black, triple black diamond. You can be a great orator. You can be a great scientist. You can discover something in your field, no matter what it is. You can be a great contributor. There's no limitations on what you can succeed in as long as you keep this machine, this whole operating system growing and learning and making it through all the periods where I don't know for sure, so I got to go check it out. But I got to check it out with a system that's not actually set up since birth, with all the people around, the education you got, to have all the programs that are running to actually make it very clear what you're seeing. So if you could see all of reality clearly, then you would be way ahead. But then how to handle reality and make it work for you and everybody else with nobody left out, that's another thing that has to go on. Otherwise, that's one of the laws of what they don't tell you, the universe, God, Mother Nature, that it's got to be win, win, win. And there's a few other things that people don't tell you, but those are some of the basics, and they're in all the courses that we have at Energy for Success, the link below. And the one person who was had made a ton of success and a true genius in Silicon Valley, he's even in the news a lot now. I said, what did you get the number one thing that you got from the energy? He said, oh, freedom. I said, really? Freedom? He said, yeah, freedom. Freedom from just the noise in my head, the noise of what's going on, medications, problems. It just, things just sort of smooth out. And I just became way more competent. And I said, yeah, one of the parts of the Great Eight is that you're growing prowess every day in every single thing. Not only your golf, but, how in how you handle your relationships with your significant others. There's more to handle, and it's less hard to handle than you think. But it becomes looking in the beginning like there's more to handle, because this misinformation syndrome, which I call the matrix, is always blaring either in the news or from other people or from your own head. So to clean that out, these programs allow you to do that rapidly. I've had people who said they've done every program. They've had all the money that you could imagine. They're in the news all the time. And they've said no program has allowed them to be able to connect to reality and take off and have a second act in life, no matter what their age was, whether they're 25, 35, or 65. Nothing, they said. And they've had access to everything except doing these practices in the videos and the audios that have to do with developing all 8 parts of your major categories using the energy every day. It doesn't take that long, 20 minutes a day. But it's amazing that the chance for people to make it is not something that people are aware of. I think that's why we're doing this video, is if I want to get this out rather than just treating high-level presidents of countries and famous scientists on a one-to-one basis and flying me around. I want this to get out to the public that it's how our bodies are made, and each one of us, if we're going to do something about the condition of our culture, using these energy practices is the quickest step to have, I think, a great connection with your true reality and your heartfelt space and connecting yourself to other people and making great choices for you and everybody else. So all our work, we've got hundreds of videos and audios on each portion of what you may be particularly interested in, what you haven't been told, but that's okay because this is a learning planet. So nobody's going to tell you necessarily from the very beginning anything that's correct. And you're really need to speed up and learn. And thanks for giving me this opportunity to give people a bridge, an energy bridge, to create the life they really want. And it's totally possible. Doesn't matter what your age is or what your infirmity is. There's somebody in their late 80s who wanted to know if they could learn to get a pilot's license and fly an airplane. And he did within 2 years. Did all the practices, got it, passed all the exams. Now he can solo. So there's no limits on you on age. There's no limits on you on what you really can create. You just have to fit within a paradigm of reality. And that's really not as constrictive as we've been taught. It's actually much more wide open and much more for you than you would even imagine. So I could go on with millions of stories about people that have been in the Olympics that you just couldn't imagine this person would ever make it to the Olympics and been a star. And using the energy practices, the energy in their body just pulls them through major performances that allows them to smile, enjoy, and perform when other people who've got, at least by birth, have much better bodies, structures, and aren't able to do what they can do. So it has a lot to do with your choices. That's the most important thing, I think, and that to know that you haven't really been given the opportunity to get to the correct information. And you need something to clean that filter every day. And that's what these practices in Energy for Success do. I really urge people to give it a shot and see if you can start creating some real successes on your own, and then keep me posted, because I love to hear about other people's successes. It turns me on to see people win. Thank you, and check the notes below. And the answer to that question, we can go on for a really long time, but I think that covers some of the high points. So there's a lot more we could talk about sometime. And maybe we should set up a 3-day seminar and go on. It would be a great talk. And entered into some talks like that when I worked with people that were physics departments in different companies or in universities that are in high-level physics and would really want to somehow figure how you can make sense of everything. There's a way you can do it. So click below and bet on yourself and see what happens. And I already know you're going to be a winner. So please give yourself a shot. Thank you for being here with us today. I love being with you and the information we've got. We've got so much more coming. So please subscribe if you would like to hear more in-depth information from us. And we've got a gift for you. Please look in the writing below. There's a link for a gift we're going to send you. And there's so many more things we can't wait to send you. So thanks for being with us today.